All right, I'm an industrial mechanic by trade, but I got a small business that I'm running here. Uh, got a Cobra Max 2 for a couple of things that we had did that was really large. Mostly got the Bambu labs. Got one at my house as well for quick jobs. Um, Working with some other guys, they got some products they show. I'll maybe show that online. Um, but I found something really cool, and then I couldn't really find good information online. Um, you look around for all these automatic systems for ejection, they'll have extra servo motors or arms coming down and knocking parts off and whatnot. So I got a part here with some G code that I found by somebody that goes by Julie777 from the Bambu Lab forums. Um, Two different cases. Well, one, something simple. I just wanted to remove the purge line from the front because, as everybody knows, whether you have the X1C or the P1Ps or P1Ss, they'll have a single purge line no matter what, unless you remove the G code for that. I'll show how to remove that line. And then the next one is a G code for after your print has been done, to have the tool head slowly knock out the part you had created. The important part is making sure that your bed temperature is lower and not gonna jam up your head too bad. Obviously, you got to think about all the parts you do if you're testing a new material. Do that without the G code and make sure after the bed's cooled down to a certain degree that it will come off very smoothly or slide right off. All right, so just for this example, I'm doing a benchy. I decided to do this because of these parts right here. Trying to do them in PLA, PETG, left too much stringing between all the parts that I was trying to do. Even though it was very minimal, I don't want that post-processing. As you can see, there was no purge line here for this part. But also, polycarbonate doesn't like to stick to the bed very long, even in a chamber, unless you have a lot of temperature. So it's very difficult to print more than one of these parts to make it clean with very little post-processing. I always recommend a brim for this kind of G code because you're not purging. Even if your brim is really tiny, just do a little brim. That brim will act as the purge line essentially, not to mess up your part, your first layer. So still focus in here. Still got a really good first layer, even though there's no purge line. So you'll have to play with it if you're making a part. Sometimes you might not need no brim at all, but I'd highly recommend it to act as the purge line. So we'll go right over here and we'll look at that G code setup. So depending on what you're doing, so I got one written up for my P1S, P1P. There's only very little difference. So let's just act like we're going to go ahead and do it. I'll show you. You want to edit your P1P G code. Go to machine G code. The start G code. What you're going to look for, all at the bottom almost, you're looking for right here. You're looking for the nozzle load line. So that's the purge line in the beginning. Obviously, if you're running an X1 carbon and you got the self-calibration flow rate, just disable that. But you're still going to need to do this on no matter which one you're on. You're going to want to remove all the G code down to the textured PEI plate part. After that, leave it alone, but just delete all that. And then what you're going to want to do is add the G code that I'm going to show you, and I'll have in the bottom, to the machine and G code. You don't want that part. So I'll show you what that looks like right here. So again, it doesn't matter. I can go P1S or P1P. Look at the P1S. Machine G code. Machine and G code. We're going to want to go down towards the bottom. So there's the N eject, this very last section, all the way down to this, all of this. So this is the eject part. And this kind of just gives you a little brief descriptions of everything that what it does. A couple things to note here. One, if you are using a P1P, the auxiliary fan, you won't have that. So turn on aux fan to cool bed quickly. So copy the G code and just delete that whole line if you're using the P1P. If you're using the P1S or the X1, you can keep that in there. It'll help cool the part down faster and allow it to eject it out faster. I'll have this down. You want to copy and paste this in there at the very end, including all this down here. And then I would save it as a knockout or whatever you want to call it. So right here, wait for bed cool to be cold. This S30, that's the temperature at which you want to kick it out. So if you want to kick it out at 25 Celsius, you'll put 25. If your part has barely any bed adhesion and you can kick it out right away at 50 Celsius or 60 or 45, whatever, you'll just edit that number right here to whatever you want. Again, proceed with caution. Your extruder head, I'll show you here in a bit. Your extruder head will hit it very softly. It's not very aggressive. So if your part does knock off your Bambu Lab head, it's not that big of a deal. It's not a high impact, fast, it's real slow push out. But that's all you need to know for that one. So again, P1P users though, that's the big one, is you need to make sure you don't have the NG code for the, I guess I got the aux fan turned off in here, but I guess I don't think it'll matter because we don't have it turned on. But you could probably delete even the turn off aux fan because it's not like it has it in there. Alright, so this is a bonus tip that I've realized pretty quickly. When you have just a few minutes left, and obviously the bed normally is a little bit higher, and it's already turned it down. When you're on the go at work, hanging out with the family, just busy doing other things, either set a timer or pay attention and check in, because you're going to want to come in here and change your bed temp early on your Bambu Handy app on the app, so you can do it on mobile, or lower it prematurely, so that way you don't have to wait as long to restart the print. Because as soon as your part kicks out, check your camera, make sure it's clear. You'll be able to go to history and then reprint the part again almost right away. If you get this timing down pretty good. Obviously too soon, your bed's going to cool off. Your part could fall off the bed while you're printing still. So you don't want to do it too early. About 10-15 minutes or so, depending on how big your part is or whatever. If your part's bigger, you could do it a little bit earlier. If you don't have much bed adhesion, do it later. But yeah, turn your temperature down on your Bambu Handy app early, so that way your bed temperature drops and you'll be able to, I mean, I could even set this for 0. It won't even matter really, because once it gets past 30 degrees, it'll go ahead and try to kick out. G code will go ahead and try to kick the part out. So we'll check that out when it comes up. So, as you can see, I timed it almost perfect. 1 minute left, 32 degrees. G code's written up for at 30 degrees, it'll kick it out. So what's going to happen is it's going to head back. It's going to place the head right in the center, so whatever part you want to do, mine's a little off. We'll see what happens. No big deal. It's just a little test run. So we got 30 degrees. Oh, it done kicked it off. Well, sorry to miss that, but yeah, it done kicked it off. The head's already all the way forward. So this had a little bit more bed adhesion. So I would turn this down just a little bit more. 25 degrees or so, so that way it kind of picks up off the bed, falls in the box. But yep, that's pretty much it. When you're done, you can just go to your app, click home, and start it all over again. And if you got any questions or comments or anything like that, you can just leave a comment. You want to add anything, got anything to say. Also, my email is in the thing if you want to reach out to me for anything specific. Thank you for your time.